Thank you for joining us.
Namaste.
So, today I thought we would kind of play with using the core to go into poses, sort of understanding how we've got the core and then we have distal points, we've got the head, tail, we've got the hands and feet. And we're just going to see if, as we move into poses, we can really feel how it helps to really connect into the core and then go into poses. So we'll see how we do. I didn't bring out any props, so I wasn't planning on using any props, but you never know, I might change my mind in the middle of it. But so let's begin. So we'll come first to lying down on the mat, and we'll just do little tiny movements, feeling into the core. So you can kind of bend the legs a little bit, bring the hands in, and use this as a little breath warm up. So I've just got my arms kind of in cactus position. You can always have them closer to your body um, or just out to your side. But the idea is to kind of condense everything around that core as you bring the knees and the elbows towards each other. And then expand and really take a big inhale. And then exhale, really bringing everything into the core. Now you can leave the head down if you're having any neck issues. I'll now just show you a few options. You could also put the hands on the head and use that to come into feeling in the core, so that when you come down, you've got the interlocked fingers supporting the head, and then you bring the elbows and knees towards each other to feel the core, and then exhale when you come to the side. Another thing to do is we'll play with both sides. So see if you can just bend the elbow and knee on one side towards each other, and see if you feel how that relates to the core of your body. And then extend it long. And bend that one side towards each other. And then extend it long. And then bend that side towards each other. And extend it long. And then you can bend that knee up and do the other side. So we bring the elbow and knee towards each other, and just allowing the head to be on the floor and curving. And then extend long. And then curve, bringing the head and the knee in. Extend it long, and one more. Head and knee in. Extend it long, and then just have both knees up. And then we're going to do opposite. So bring, and you can support the head with your other hand if that helps. So you're going to bring the opposite knee and elbow towards each other, supporting the head. And then bring that down. Opposite elbow and knee. Just notice where you feel that, where the core resides there. And bring it down. Elbow to knee, cross lateral, bring it down, one more, elbow to knee, and bring it down, switch sides, so place the other hand under your head, and the elbow towards the knee, and bring it down, elbow towards the knee. Bring it down, and one more elbow towards the knee. Bring it down. And then just support your head with your interlocked fingers. And now we're just going to bring the knees up towards the chest. And you feel the lower part of your core And you bring the knees into the chest. Bring the knees towards the chest. And bring them down. If you want to go a little bit further in this pose, cross the ankles and lift from the bottom core as you bring the feet up towards the ceiling. Can you feel that? You can also just stay with the knees bent. You can cross the ankles if you like, and just bring the knees towards the chest. Change the crossover. You can only do as many as feels right for you. Or you can change the crossover with the legs up and getting a lift here. And then bring the feet to the mat and just do a little windshield wiper, because this is actually going into a bit of core work, so you don't want to, especially if you haven't been doing so much core work, you just want to soften and not create tension in other parts of your body. And with the feet on the ground, we'll come the other way. So lift the head off and see if you can feel into the core there. So that would be the upper edge of the core. And then extend down. And then lift it up. And extend down. One more. Inhale. And down. And then if you really want to go for broke, come out into a little bit of an X here. And then really lift the elbows to the knee. And rolling down. And you can just modify it. You can keep the back on the floor when you do this, lifting the head. Or you can try to, I was using momentum, so that's probably not right. It's probably better to just lift the knees and the elbows into the core. And extend long, and one more. Knees to the core. Knees to the elbows to the feet. And then come down. And then just really stretch into those 6 distal points. The toes, the fingertips, the head and the tail, and see if you can find that big stretch there. And then see if you can roll to one side, bringing the knees and the elbows towards each other. And then coming back to that X and do the other side. Coming back to the X. We'll do it one more time on each side. You bring the knees and the elbows towards each other, but you also have that curve in the head and the tail. And then back out to that X. Come into that head, tail, elbows to the knees. And if you really want to build in a little bit momentum, I'm just scoot over a little bit, you can take a little bit more intensity in this in terms of speed and roll over like you're in child's pose. So you can take the momentum in the movement and come over to child's pose. If not, that's okay too. You can just roll over and come up to your hands and knees. And then we'll just do some circling in the pelvis, because that may have created a little bit of tightness or just a little bit of tension in the lower back. And you can make this spiral as big as feels right for you today. It can be quite small if that feels right to you. And you can go the other way. And you just come into hands and knees into tabletop. And if you're up to it, see if you can bring the opposite leg and arm long, and then you bring the knee and elbow towards each other, and a bit of curve in the spine. And then find that extension. And then exhale, bringing the knee and the elbow towards each other. See if you can feel your core here. And then extend it long. And exhale, knee and elbow in. And extend it long. You can always just do the leg if it's too hard, or you can just do the arm if you need a break from the leg. And now just hold that length. See if you can really stabilize here and really feel how the core supports you here. And then bring that knee and hand down. And then the opposite leg and arm. And bend the knee and the elbow towards each other, finding that curve in the spine. Extend it long. Bring it in. Extend it long. Elbow to knee. Extend it long. One more. Elbow to knee. Extend it long and just hold it here. See if you can find that stability, but also feeling that core support. And then bring the hand and the leg down. And just go into big toes together, knees wide for a couple of breaths. Softening your lower back, widening your lower back, but feeling into those shins and tops of the feet to support you. And then come into all fours. And you might want to walk the hands a hand length forward and tuck the toes under and come into downward dog. And to feel the core here, we're first just going to bend the knees a little bit. And then extend the leg. You feel into that connection to the core. And again, bend the knees in. And straighten the legs. And bend the knees in. Straighten the legs. Now, if you're okay in the shoulders, you can do a little bit of bend at the elbows and then straighten through the arms. And can you feel going back into the core, into the legs there? And so you can bend the arms out. Press back in. I've got my elbows going wide, but you can also try to bend the elbows down. You're okay in your shoulders. And then straighten back into the legs. And then bend the knees down and go into big toes together, knees wide. Couple of breaths here. And then again, inhale, coming up. You might want to walk those hands a little bit further to tuck the toes in, and coming into downward dog. And this time we're going to go into plank and then see if you can lift that knee up and feel how the core engages here. And then lift it long behind you if you're able to. And then bring it back in. Lift it long behind you. Press through that back heel. In, long behind, and then place it down and go back into downward dog, especially if you need to release the head or the shoulders or the hips a little bit. And then we'll go into the second side. Inhale, come to plank. Bend the knee up. Extend it long. Bend the knee up. Extend it long. And one more time, bend the knee up. Extend it long, bring it down. Downward dog, and then come into big toes together. Knees wide. And then here, just bring the elbows together. And you can walk them a little more forward to get a bit of stretch in the shoulders. A couple of breaths here. And then walk the arms out again. Come into a downward dog. And then walk the feet and the hands towards each other. And you can just hang here for a few breaths. You can hold on to your feet or ankles. Just shaking out the spine. You can bring the fingertips if you want to straighten the legs and shake the torso. And then you can bend the knees and just slowly roll up and see if you really feel that core when you roll up the spine. And then we'll just stand in the middle of the mat. And somebody was talking today, and something I was listening to, about putting your fist between your knees as a way to know that you're standing with your hips hip width. I don't know if that's true for everybody, but it might be a good measure for you. And standing in Tadasana, first just sort of soften the knee and see if you can find your core here. And then as you slowly straighten the legs, see what happens. See how the rest of the body stacks. So it's like the ankles to the knees, to the hips, to the rib cage, to the shoulder blades, and the head and neck are last. And so now just soften the knees. And actually play with the core support a little more. Just slowly drop the chin to the chest. So let that all be soft, so the front body is soft. And then really press through the legs, keeping the tailbone long though, and then see if you can lift the chin up, and if somehow you feel, I feel a little taller this evening. And then again, just soften the knees. Let that chin roll to the chest. And then press into those heels, those feet. Extend the spine long. Dropping the tailbone. And see if you can feel that you're tall. You're really tall in the spine today. And then slowly inhale the arms up. And see if you can feel that length from your core all the way out those fingertips. A couple of breaths there. And slowly just soften the hands and the arms down. And see if you can keep that core support. And then again, slowly raise the arms up. and really feel the core connecting to those fingertips. Now we're going to go into Utkatasana power pose. So see if again you can bend at the knees, keeping that length through the fingertips. So the abdominal really lifted here and your lower back is long. Couple of breaths here. And then inhale, coming back up. And then just let those arms really just soften and float down. Couple of breaths here. And do that again. So inhale the arms up. Feel that lift through those distal points and those fingertips. It feeds into the core that allows you to bend at the knees. Really have connection into the abdominals here. Inhale up. And just let those arms just soften. Now we're going to play with some standing poses going for distance. So we're going to do a little bit of flexion. Bring the elbows in, the knees soft. Then you're going to start to bring the feet out until you find the positioning of triangle where the back foot is to toe to heel, the front foot is heel to toe, but there's still softness in the legs. So they're still bent, and then elbows here. Now see what happens when you extend through the legs and the arms. Can you feel where your core support is here? A couple of breaths here. And soften everything. See if you can soften through the legs to put them the other side position, so there's still softness. You might have to inch a little more space between the feet. And then slowly straighten the legs and the arms. And you feel that core support here. And then again, soften everything in. Bring the feet around and you can bring them back into the center, and then see if you can come back into Tadasana from that flexed position, lengthening that hidden tail. Good breaths. And again, soften, bring the elbows and the knees towards each other. But feeling that core, and then again we're going to move the legs. It's kind of like, we can get a little momentum in here, couldn't we? A little swingy action. And coming out this time into Warrior 2. So we're still flexed here. You're going to start to straighten the back leg, bend the front leg. And then really extend through those arms, so you've got those distal arms. Can you feel your core support here? A couple of breaths here. And then soften everything in. And pivot through the legs here. Then you turn the other way. And then slowly straighten through the legs and the arms. Feel that core support. Looking over that. Really soften the knees. Elbows towards each other, bringing the feet in. And then slowly coming up to Tadasana. Breaths here. And again, flex into the legs, extended side angle lateral foot. And then again, soften everything in, pivot around into the core, and then place the elbow down, extend the back leg, up arm up a little bit. Couple of breaths here. And then slowly flex everything in as you come back in to Tadasana. Rolling up the spine. You feel that length between your head and your tail. The side feels long. Breaths in. And slowly flex everything in. Going to bring the legs out. And then we're going to slowly try to go into Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose, by extending out from the floor into those distal points. Bring the foot down, coming around, reflection, and then slowly stay in reflection until you extend out through the foot, top hand. Flex everything in, coming around, and then roll up the spine. Feeling a couple of breaths here. Just notice what your sensations are, what you're feeling in your body. Do another inhale, slowly, those arms overhead. And really feel that length from your head to the tail. And just really soften those arms down again. Inhale another with the arms overhead. Come into Utkatasana, powerful pose. Really using those abdominals. Up. Soften down. Couple of breaths here. And again, slowly bring the arms up. One more time into Utkatasana, powerful pose. Coming back up and letting our arms soften down. A couple of breaths there. Maybe just soften the legs and do a little bit of hip rotation, just to kind of counter the movement of all that sort of flexion in and coming out, but just giving yourself a little release. And then let's come down to sitting. And if you need something to sit on, this is where I didn't bring out any props, but if worst comes to worst, you know, you can always fold a mat to give yourself a little bit of height under the buttocks. So if you can sit with your legs long here and sitting on your sit bones, you can inhale the arms up and then flex the elbows down as you pull one knee in, feeling that core support. And then bringing that, holding the shin in front of you. So you can round here. And then slowly straighten the spine. And then just do a little bit of rounding in the spine here, finding your core support. And then lengthening. And then wrap one arm around. We'll just gradually go into a little bit of a twist here. You can stay here for a few breaths. Deeper, you can place the arm behind you and bring that elbow on the outside. You can either just look to the side or you can look over the shoulder depending on where you are today. Really squeezing the abdominals here for that twist. And then slowly soften. You can come back around and do the little curve in the spine and then straighten that leg out in front of you again. And then inhale both arms up again. And then bend the opposite knee in and the elbows, really feeling into the core here. Finding your hands on that chin. And then straighten the spine. Round the spine, feel into that core. Straighten the spine. Round the core. Straighten through the spine for more. Round. Just deeper, you can place it behind you in the elbow, opposite side, and really squeeze those bones. Slowly come back in, around the spine, and then slowly straighten the leg. Hold on to your shins and slowly round the spine, and then come into happy baby pose and hold the feet, and you can, rock side to side if that feels good. And then if you have a chair, you can put your feet on the chair. You can put your feet up the wall. You can go into plain old Shavasana. You could even, I don't have a bolster in front of me, but you could even come into, front lying Shavasana where you put the rolled blanket under your hips. And you just come here so that the hips are a little bit higher, and that's going to stretch out those abdominals if you want a little bit of an opposite kind of Shavasana experience for what we were just focusing on. So that means lying a blanket or a bolster right here where you place your hips on top of it, and it just gives you that little lift there. To stretch out the lower back. And then whatever you're choosing for Shavasana, go into that pose. And then just begin to soften your breathing. allow your breath to move in and out of your whole body. And see if you can feel gravity. How can gravity support you in the current pose that you're in? Does it help spread the lower back or the shoulder, the hips? See if you can feel your breath from your belly just exhale out into those fingertips, toe tips, head and tail. And exhale, everything softens into the core. So when you inhale, everything expands into those toe tips, head and tail. And then you exhale, it all softens into the core. See if you can really spread your forehead, soften it together. And let your eyeballs rest into your eye socket. What about your cheeks? Can you soften? What about your jaw? Can you soften your jaw? Which then helps to soften your chin. And then slowly begin to deepen your breath. You can bring a bit of movement into your fingers, toes, finding whatever stretch you need to reawaken your body. Then roll over to your right side. Come up to sitting. Namaste. And have a beautiful day. thank you for watching and joining us. Namaste.